Listen carefully, because what you're about to learn will change the way you see power, people, and the game being played around you every single day. The world does not reward the naive, the trusting, or the emotionally transparent. It rewards the mind that operates in layers, thinks 3 moves ahead, and never reveals its full hand. If you want to outsmart, outthink, and outlast everyone who believes they can predict you, manipulate you, or use you, then you must first understand something most people refuse to accept. The rules you were taught about fairness, honesty, and playing nice were designed to keep you controllable. They were never meant to make you powerful. You are surrounded by people who smile while calculating, who compliment while competing, who pretend to support you while secretly hoping you fail. And the moment you start operating with the same strategic clarity they hide behind false morality, you will begin to see the world for what it truly is. A chessboard where every interaction is a move, every relationship is leverage, and every word spoken carries hidden intention. This is not about becoming cruel. This is about becoming aware. This is about training your mind to function at a level where you can no longer be deceived, controlled, or outmaneuvered by those who think faster, darker, and more strategically than you currently do. The Machiavellian mind is not born from aggression. It is built from observation, patience, and the willingness to see human nature without the comforting illusions most people cling to. You must become the person who understands motives before they are spoken, who reads behavior like a language, who controls outcomes without ever appearing to control anything at all. And this transformation begins the moment you stop trusting the surface and start analyzing the structure beneath it. Most people move through life reacting to everything. Someone insults them, they respond emotionally. Someone praises them, they trust blindly. Someone offers help, they assume good intentions. But you will no longer be one of them. You will train your mind to pause, observe, and decode the psychology behind every gesture, every offer, every smile. Because the person who controls their reactions controls the interaction, and the person who controls the interaction controls the outcome. Right now, you might believe that being strategic means being cold, distant, or emotionless. That is a misunderstanding. Being strategic means being in complete control of when and how you display emotion. It means using emotion as a tool, not allowing it to use you. A Machiavellian thinker does not suppress feelings. He directs them with surgical precision. He knows when anger serves him and when it exposes him. He knows when vulnerability creates trust and when it invites exploitation. He knows when silence intimidates and when words seduce. This is the difference between someone who lives at the mercy of their emotions and someone who weaponizes them intentionally. Your first lesson in outsmarting everyone is this: stop believing what people say and start watching what they do. Words are the easiest lies to tell. Behavior is where truth lives. People will declare loyalty while positioning themselves to betray you. They will promise support while secretly undermining your progress. They will claim they want your success while feeling threatened by it. A trained mind does not get fooled by declarations. It watches patterns. It notices contradictions. It measures consistency over time. When someone's words and actions do not align, you have just been handed valuable intelligence. You now know they are either self-deluded or deliberately deceptive. Either way, you adjust your strategy accordingly. You do not confront them. You do not expose them. You simply recalibrate how much access they have to your plans, your thoughts, and your vulnerabilities. This is how you begin thinking in layers. You stop taking interactions at face value and start asking the questions no one else thinks to ask. What does this person gain from this conversation? What insecurity are they trying to hide? What do they need from me that they are not directly requesting? Why are they suddenly interested in my life? What changed? The moment you start thinking this way, manipulation attempts become visible. You will begin to see the hooks people cast into conversations, the emotional bait they use to extract information, the subtle ways they test your boundaries to see how much they can take. And once you see these patterns, you can never be controlled by them again. Now let me tell you something about power that no one wants to admit. Power does not announce itself. Power does not need to be loud, aggressive, or dominating. True power moves quietly, positions itself carefully, and strikes only when the outcome is already certain. The people you should fear are not the ones shouting orders or making threats. They are the ones sitting in silence, watching everything, saying little, and remembering even more. These are the minds that shape outcomes without ever appearing responsible for them. These are the people who let others take credit while they take control. This is the level you must reach. You must become someone whose influence is felt but never traced. Someone whose presence shifts the energy of a room without a single word. Someone whose silence makes others uncomfortable because they cannot predict what you are thinking. Silence is one of the most underestimated weapons in human interaction. When you speak constantly, you give people a map of your mind. They learn your triggers, your beliefs, your insecurities, your desires. But when you speak selectively, you become unreadable. And being unreadable is one of the most powerful positions you can occupy. People cannot manipulate what they cannot predict. They cannot exploit what they cannot access. The less you reveal, the more control you maintain. But silence alone is not enough. You must pair it with observation. While others are busy talking, performing, and trying to impress, you must be studying. You must watch how people respond under pressure. You must notice who they align with when conflict arises. You must see who they blame when things go wrong and who they praise when things go right. These behaviors reveal core character. And core character is what determines whether someone can be trusted, used, or kept at a distance. Most people do not observe, they react. They participate without analyzing. They engage without questioning. This is why they are constantly blindsided by betrayal, manipulation, and hidden agendas. But you will be different. You will train your mind to operate like a surveillance system. Always recording, always analyzing, always 3 steps ahead of the present moment. This does not mean you become paranoid. It means you become prepared. It means you stop being surprised by human behavior because you have studied it deeply enough to anticipate it. Let me tell you about motive. Every single person you interact with is driven by motive. Some want status, some want validation, some want control, some want to feel important, some want to avoid pain, some want to secure resources, and some simply want to survive. Understanding motive is the key to predicting behavior. When you know what someone wants, you know how they will move. When you know what they fear, you know where they are vulnerable. And when you know what they value, you know exactly what leverage you hold. A Machiavellian strategist does not guess at motive. He investigates it. He listens to what people emphasize in conversation. He notices what topics make them defensive. He observes what achievements they brag about and what failures they avoid mentioning. All of this is data. All of this tells you how their mind operates. And once you understand how their mind operates, you can position yourself in ways that make your goals align naturally with their interests. This is not manipulation in the malicious sense. This is strategic positioning. You are simply placing yourself where cooperation benefits both parties, but where you maintain the upper hand because you understand the dynamic better than they do. Now, I want to address something that might make you uncomfortable. You have been taught that being strategic is wrong, that reading people is manipulative, that protecting your interests is selfish. These beliefs were planted in you to keep you weak. They were designed to make you easy to control, easy to guilt, easy to exploit. The people who taught you these things do not follow them. The people who preach radical honesty are hiding the most. The people who demand your transparency guard their own intentions carefully. The people who shame you for being strategic are using strategy against you at that very moment. You must let go of the moral programming that keeps you vulnerable. You must accept that the world operates on power dynamics whether you acknowledge them or not. And the only question that matters is this: will you be aware of these dynamics and navigate them skillfully, or will you remain blind and be used by those who see clearly? Choosing awareness is not evil. Choosing blindness is not virtue. It is simply ignorance disguised as morality. Here is another truth you must internalize. People respect what they cannot fully access. The moment you become completely transparent, you lose mystique. The moment you explain everything, you lose authority. The moment you seek approval openly, you lose respect. Human psychology is wired to value what feels rare, distant, and slightly out of reach. This is why the person who chases is always valued less than the person who withdraws. This is why the person who over-explains is trusted less than the person who speaks in measured statements. This is why the person who seeks constant validation is respected less than the person who operates with quiet confidence. You must train yourself to become less available, less predictable, and less eager to be understood. This does not mean you become cold or robotic. It means you become selective. You share strategically. You reveal only what strengthens your position. You allow people to wonder about you instead of handing them a manual to your mind. When people cannot fully figure you out, they assign you more value. When they cannot predict your next move, they treat you with more caution. And when they cannot manipulate you emotionally, they begin to respect you as an equal or even a superior. Let us talk about emotional control, because this is where most people lose every advantage they could have had. Emotion is the fastest way to broadcast weakness. When you react emotionally, you tell others exactly what hurts you, what excites you, what controls you. You give them a blueprint for how to manipulate you in the future. A Machiavellian mind does not eliminate emotion. That would be impossible and unnatural. Instead, it manages emotion like a resource. It decides when emotion serves the goal and when it sabotages it. You must become someone who can feel anger but choose not to display it. Someone who can feel fear but refuse to let it dictate decisions. Someone who can feel affection but not let it blind you to red flags. This level of control requires brutal self-awareness. You must study yourself the way you study others. You must identify your triggers and disarm them. You must confront your insecurities so they cannot be used against you. You must know which emotions make you irrational and build systems to prevent them from taking over. When you gain this control, you become extremely difficult to manipulate, because manipulation works by triggering emotion and then exploiting the irrational decisions that follow. But if you do not react emotionally, the manipulation fails. The person attempting it is left confused, frustrated, and powerless. This is when you gain the upper hand without ever raising your voice. Now let me explain why endurance is more valuable than intelligence. Intelligence helps you see opportunities. Endurance ensures. You are still standing when those opportunities arrive. Most people are sprinters. They start strong, burn out fast, and quit the moment resistance appears. But the Machiavellian mind is built for the long game. It understands that power is not seized in a single move. It is accumulated slowly, carefully, and consistently over time. You must train yourself to outlast everyone, to keep moving when others stop, to stay calm when others panic, to remain focused when others get distracted. This requires psychological endurance, the ability to tolerate discomfort, delay gratification, and continue executing even when results are slow. Endurance is what separates those who win temporarily from those who dominate permanently. It is the reason empires are built by patient strategists, not impulsive opportunists. When you combine strategic thinking with relentless endurance, you become unstoppable. Because even if someone is smarter than you, they will eventually tire. Even if someone starts ahead of you, they will eventually lose focus. But you will still be moving, still observing, still positioning, still advancing. And one day you will look around and realize you have outlasted everyone who underestimated your capacity to endure. Here is something else you need to understand. Your reputation is a tool, not a reflection of your soul. Most people try to build a reputation based on who they truly are. This is a mistake. Your reputation should be based on what serves your goals. If being seen as humble opens doors, you display humility. If being seen as confident commands respect, you project confidence. If being seen as unpredictable keeps people cautious, you embrace unpredictability. A Machiavellian strategist does not cling to a fixed identity. He adapts his presentation based on the environment, the audience, and the objective. This is not fakeness, this is intelligence. You are simply choosing which aspects of yourself to emphasize in different contexts. Politicians do this, executives do this, negotiators do this. Anyone who understands power does this. And you must do it too if you want to navigate complex social structures without being trapped by a single perception. The key is to remain internally consistent while being externally flexible. You know who you are. You know your core principles, but you do not feel obligated to broadcast them in every situation. You reveal only what benefits you and conceal what makes you vulnerable. Let us discuss the concept of leverage, because leverage is the currency of power. Leverage is anything that gives you influence over an outcome or a person. It can be information they do not want revealed. It can be a skill they need. It can be a connection they want access to. It can be resources they depend on. It can even be your absence, your refusal to participate, your ability to walk away. A strategic mind is always building leverage. Not to harm others, but to ensure that when negotiation happens, you are not powerless. You must always have something the other party values. And you Must never give it away for free. This does not mean you become transactional in a cold, heartless way. It means you recognize that every relationship, every agreement, every collaboration operates on exchange. And if you are the only one giving while others are taking, you are not being kind. You are being used. Building leverage requires foresight. It requires you to think about what you might need 6 months, 1 year, 5 years from now. It requires you to cultivate skills, relationships, and resources before you need them. Because once you need them, you have no leverage. But if you build them in advance, you enter every situation from a position of strength. Now I want to talk about something uncomfortable but necessary. You must become comfortable with being misunderstood. The moment you start thinking strategically, operating with emotional control, and refusing to explain yourself constantly, people will misinterpret you. They will call you cold, they will say you have changed, they will accuse you of being distant, calculating, or too serious. Let them. Their confusion is proof that you are no longer operating at their level. Their discomfort is evidence that you have stopped being predictable. Their criticism is a signal that you are no longer controllable. A Machiavellian mind does not seek universal approval. It seeks respect from those who matter and indifference from those who do not. You must let go of the need to be liked by everyone. You must release the desire to be understood by people who lack the capacity to understand strategy. You must accept that the higher you rise in awareness, the fewer people will be able to relate to you. This is not loneliness. This is elevation. And elevation always comes with distance. Here is another principle you must internalize. Never reveal your full capability. Always appear slightly less competent than you are. This gives you room to surprise, to exceed expectations, and to be underestimated. Being underestimated is one of the greatest strategic advantages you can have. When people think you are less intelligent, less capable, or less ambitious than you truly are, they let their guard down. They speak freely around you. They do not see you as a threat. They do not monitor your moves. And this gives you the freedom to observe, learn, and position yourself without interference. The moment you reveal your full capability, you invite competition, envy, and resistance. People will start watching you more closely. They will start trying to limit your progress. They will start undermining you before you can rise further. But if you move quietly, if you win without announcing it, if you grow without performing it, you can achieve far more with far less resistance. Let your results speak only after they are undeniable. Let your power be felt only after it is unshakable. This is how you rise without being pulled down. Let me tell you about the importance of controlling the frame. The frame is the context through which a situation is interpreted. Whoever controls the frame controls the meaning, and whoever controls the meaning controls the outcome. For example, if someone criticizes you and you react defensively, they control the frame. The interaction is now about whether their criticism is valid. But if you respond with calm curiosity, asking them to clarify or even agreeing partially while redirecting the conversation, you take control of the frame. The interaction is now about collaboration, not confrontation. Controlling the frame requires emotional discipline and linguistic skill. You must train yourself to pause before responding. You must learn to reinterpret situations in ways that serve you. You must become skilled at shifting the narrative without appearing manipulative. This is an advanced skill, but it is one of the most powerful tools in strategic communication. When you control the frame, you control how people perceive reality, and perception is reality in human interaction. Now let us address the role of patience in outsmarting others. Impatience is the enemy of strategy. When you act too quickly, you reveal your intentions. When you push too hard, you create resistance. When you demand immediate results, you make poor decisions. A Machiavellian mind understands that timing is everything. Sometimes the best move is no move. Sometimes the smartest response is silence. Sometimes the most powerful action is waiting for the other person to make a mistake. Patience allows you to gather more information. It allows situations to develop naturally. It allows other players to expose themselves. And it gives you the advantage of choosing the perfect moment to act, when success is most likely and resistance is weakest. You must train yourself to tolerate the discomfort of waiting, to sit with uncertainty without rushing to resolve it, to watch opportunities pass by because the timing is not yet right. This discipline separates amateurs from masters. Amateurs act when they feel ready. Masters act when the environment is ready. Here is a truth about relationships that most people refuse to accept. Every relationship is transactional at some level. This does not mean relationships cannot involve genuine care, affection, or loyalty. It simply means that every relationship operates on some form of exchange. Emotional support, status, resources, companionship, validation, protection, or shared goals. When the exchange becomes too one-sided, the relationship deteriorates. A strategic mind does not ignore this reality, it manages it. You must always be aware of what you are giving and what you are receiving in any relationship. If you are constantly giving and receiving nothing, you are being drained. If you are constantly receiving and giving nothing, you are creating resentment. The healthiest relationships are those where the exchange feels balanced, even if the things being exchanged are different. You must also recognize that people stay in your life as long as the relationship serves them. This is not cynical. This is human nature. And once you accept it, you stop being hurt by people leaving. You simply recognize that the exchange ended and you move forward without bitterness. Let me explain why you must become a master of ambiguity. Ambiguity is the space between clarity and confusion. It is where people project their own assumptions, fears, and desires. And it is where you gain the most control. When you speak in absolutes, you limit interpretation. When you speak with slight ambiguity, you allow others to fill in the gaps with what they want to hear. This makes them feel understood, even though you have said very little. Politicians use this constantly. They make statements that sound specific, but are actually vague enough to appeal to multiple groups. You must learn to do this in your own interactions, not to deceive, but to maintain flexibility. When you commit too clearly to a position, you lose room to maneuver. But when you remain slightly ambiguous, you can adapt as the situation develops. This requires careful language. You must learn to speak in ways that feel definitive but leave space for reinterpretation. You must become comfortable with people thinking they understand you when they are actually understanding their own projection. Now, I want to address the concept of strategic withdrawal. Most people think power is about advancing, dominating, and taking space. But sometimes the most powerful move is to withdraw, to step back, to remove your presence, your energy, or your support. Withdrawal creates scarcity. And scarcity increases value. When you are always available, always responsive, always present, people take you for granted. But when you withdraw even slightly, they begin to notice your absence. They begin to wonder. They begin to question. And often they begin to pursue. This works in professional settings, personal relationships, and negotiations. The person who is willing to walk away holds the most power. Because walking away signals that you do not need the outcome more than the other party does. And that shifts the entire dynamic. You must train yourself to be comfortable with withdrawal, to let conversations end without resolution, to let people wonder if you are still interested, to allow silence to stretch longer than feels comfortable. This discomfort is where your power grows. Here is something you must never forget. Your mind is your only true asset. Everything else can be taken. Your money, your relationships, your reputation, your physical health. But your mind, your ability to think, adapt, strategize, and endure, that is yours alone. This is why you must protect it fiercely. You must guard what you allow into it. You must filter the information you consume, the people you spend time with, and the beliefs you adopt. Most people pollute their minds with negativity, distraction, and borrowed opinions. They let social media shape their worldview. They let news cycles dictate their emotions. They let other people's judgments define their self-worth. You must reject all of this. You must build a mind that is self-contained, self-directed, and immune to external noise. This requires discipline. It requires you to limit your exposure to things that weaken your focus. It requires you to spend time in solitude, in thought, in reflection. It requires you to treat your mind like a fortress that only the most valuable information is allowed to enter. Let me tell you about the final layer of Machiavellian thinking. It is not about controlling others. It is about controlling yourself so completely that others cannot control you. It is about becoming so internally stable that external chaos cannot destabilize you. It is about building a mind so clear, so focused, and so disciplined that manipulation bounces off you like rain off stone. When you reach this level, you do not need to outsmart people through tricks or schemes. You outsmart them simply by being more aware, more patient, and more controlled than they are. You outthink them because your mind operates in layers while theirs operates on the surface. You outlast them because your endurance is built on principles, not emotions. This is the ultimate goal. Not to become a manipulator, but to become unmanipulatable. Not to deceive others, but to never be deceived. Not to dominate through force, but to lead through clarity. And once you reach this level, you will notice something profound. The world begins to rearrange itself around you. Opportunities appear. People respect you without knowing why. Conflicts resolve in your favor. Outcomes bend toward your intentions. Not because you forced them, but because you positioned yourself so strategically that success became inevitable. This is the power of a trained mind. This is what it means to outsmart, outthink, and outlast everyone. Not through aggression, but through mastery. Not through loudness, but through silence. Not through force, but through strategy. Train your mind, protect your mind, and let your mind become the weapon no one sees coming.